left a hole in me and my identity leaked over the weeks. Should I be empty by now? Should I be empty by now? I was smiling the moment the train crashed. I never expected the moment I saw you last. So how can I trust in these tracks? I don't trust in these tracks, no, no. Why bother walking? It's a wasteland, and misery, it clouds the sky. Why bother when it's still a wasteland, and misery still fills the sky? I know everybody lies, but I still hope she won't lie to me. I think I'd rather lie to myself than be lonely. And with her fingers holding mine around the wheel as we dream about the drive, we'll make it out of this place, and then we'll come alive, come alive. Why bother walking? It's a wasteland, and misery, it clouds the sky. Why bother when it's still a wasteland, and misery still fills the sky? Why bother walking? It's a wasteland, misery, it clouds the sky. Why bother when it's still a wasteland, misery still fills the sky?
Hey guys, it's Jamie at Powerhouse. Welcome to our second ever interview. As I have a guest, Hawke is here.
Hi.
That's an amazing intro. Uh, so I recently tweeted on the tweets that this is Riley Hawke, not Hawke, because I almost did that anyway. But we have talked about some things, and we know that people used to have some music in the beginning of our podcast, and me and Riley have set up. I guess we've come on an agreement, I guess is what we could say. So Riley, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Do you want to tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So I am a musician. I've been making music for about probably a little over 10 years. And I guess, more recently after I played Life is Strange, I kind of got back into it and was motivated to write a bunch of songs inspired by the game, and continue to do so for Before the Storm, and looking to do so for Life is Strange 2. So yeah, I've been involved with the community for a while, and it's been really fun.
Now you also have some songs that are not Life is Strange related, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like before I played Life is Strange, I don't know if I'd ever written a song that was like inspired by something other than my life. And I still kind of write songs like that, but I've been focusing more on the songs that are kind of inspired by Life is Strange or other games or shows or whatever, because it's something that kind of has more of an audience already. And prior to playing Life is Strange, I never found that I was able to attract people to my music very effectively.
Okay, well, you told me you were small, and then I looked at your YouTube channel and saw that you had over 1,000 subscribers. So, tell me what your definition of the word small is.
I guess, relatively. I have, my aspirations, I suppose, are larger than where I'm at currently for music and stuff. Because there's people with millions of subscribers on YouTube, so I would say I'm relatively small.
We have 17. You want to talk about small?
So that's
okay.
That's small relative to my channel, I guess.
You said to me, you were like, yeah, I have a small amount of subscribers, and I was like, okay, well, I can't be that small because we have 17, and I look and it's 1,000 over, and I was like, wait a minute, she has 990 more than we do.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's all relative, so you never know.
So, obviously, you said that you have been working on music for, what is it, 10 years now?
Yeah.
Okay, so 10 years. Obviously, you grew up wanting. Did you grow up wanting to be a musician, or?
No, actually, I didn't really. I played guitar when I was kind of little. My dad had played guitar, and I took lessons for about a year when I was 8 years old or something. But that was, I played trumpet. I played the trumpet in high school also, but I wasn't really that into music. I got into it for the first time when I was graduating from high school, and wrote a song about how sad I was to be leaving my friends behind, basically. And it kind of went from there. There had been a lot of other artistic endeavors that I was interested in prior to that. I've done a lot of visual art. That was something that I thought about going to school for. Also a lot of writing. I wrote a novel in high school and started another one, and I've done poetry and all that kind of stuff. But I think with that song that I wrote, it was the first time I got I guess it's a little bit like what I said about having that reaction from people with my first Life is Strange inspired song. When I wrote my first song and played it for my friends, it felt like more of a reaction than I'd gotten from any of my other artwork. So that was probably what motivated me to kind of stick with it more than any other art form. And I've come a long way since then.
Okay, so low key, I have to mention this because I have to. But you said it's just kind of just a thing you guys do for fun. But you and your friends have a podcast, don't you?
It's not my podcast. It's more like I'm a guest on it when we talk about the Life is Strange episodes. I think the name of the channel is Team Turtle Ducks.
Yeah, that's what it says. So you guys just talk about Life is Strange. Where did you guys come up with that idea?
So that was Desma's idea. Destiny Smasher. She wrote All Wounds. That might be where you would have heard of her. And I think she came up with the idea to do that, and it's just been fun. It's kind of a chance for us to get together and talk about what we thought about the game.
Okay, so music-wise, so idols growing. You said guitar. The first question I gotta ask you before I ask you, I play obstacles on the guitar.
If you gave me 10 minutes to learn it, I could play it, but I couldn't play it for you. right now because I've never tried.
Well, goodbye. No. So yeah, okay. Well, obstacles is a hard song, but you talk about how sorry, I'm exhausted. You talk about how Life is Strange has motivated you, right?
Mhm.
And so I want to ask you a couple things. In what way did Life is Strange motivate you? If you can describe that to me.
Sure. So I guess when I finished the game for the first time, it was very emotional. So I chose to sacrifice Chloe and save Arcade Bay. And I felt horrible about it. I mean, often like you see a TV show or you play a game and then you make tough choices or there's something sad that happens and it's emotional, but then you forget about it the next day. But like for me, this like stuck with me for days. I was like, at work and I was just like thinking about it and I'm like, oh my God, I can't shake this, So I felt like, so one of the ways that I work through difficult like emotions and stuff is by creating art about them, and that really helps me to like work through it. I think a lot of artists do that. So I felt like if I created a song and a video to kind of put what I was feeling out there, it would help me kind of get past it. And then, like I said, just seeing the positive reaction to that video then motivated me to make more.
Okay, so yeah, so you talk about the positive reaction. I do want to say personally, for me, I understand. Well, not so I completely where you're coming from, podcaster. As someone, I actually lied to you earlier. I used to write music. I don't so much anymore. But if I have time, I will. But that's something we can talk more about. Not while we're So I don't want people to be like, so why'd you have to go get someone and you couldn't sing yourself? I like music, but I'm not a good singer. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So you talked about how Life is Strange inspired you, but the thing that I want to agree with you on is that creative people, and a lot of people don't think of podcasting as creative because it's literally just talking on the phone with your friends, but there's a lot more into it than goes into it. And for me, I get where you're coming from when you say that when something is stuck on your mind, you want to do something about it. Because whenever something is stuck on my mind, if it's legal to talk about, I will either make my friends come and record a podcast with me, my friends here on Discord, or I will just record something myself. And even if I don't upload it, it helps me cope with what I was thinking about. So in that instance, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm gonna ask you this, and we might be giving it away, but so I listened to your original songs earlier, before I left to go somewhere. I wanted to listen to your original songs before I listened to your Life is Strange songs. I don't know why, but I just wanted to. So I want to ask you, are you able to tell me what the meaning behind two of these original songs are? Or is that something you want people to figure out on their own?
I'm happy to talk about it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not.
I guess I'll just go.
Like, I understand, like, something like, you want people to be able to interpret things the way that they want to interpret them, but no, yeah, some artists choose not to talk about what their songs mean, but I like to talk about it, so it's fine.
Okay. So I just listened to them in order, but before it gets to me, can you explain where the idea for that came and what it's about? Because I have a gist about what it's about, but before I say what I think it's about, I want you to tell me.
Okay.
So I don't fuck it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So I think that song is about. It's kind of about. it's definitely, a lot of it is rooted in fear. It's kind of taking a very fearful, pessimistic view about life, I guess. It's a little bit existential crisisy, kind of, wondering like why am I here, when things are kind of, when such awful things exist. And then the whole, like, the chorus is basically just saying, I want to leave before it gets me. And that's just saying that, like, it's very dark, but it's saying, I want to die before something really awful happens to me. And, so it's definitely a very, dark kind of song in that way.
Okay, so too dark, leave. No. What I'm gonna so I'll tell you later what I was thinking about, where I was thinking about using that song, if you want to talk about where we use what songs and stuff like that. But to me, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So have you? I guess this is a personal question. I don't know if you're willing, but depression at any point, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go, like, too far into your personal life, but, like, while you were writing that song, was it because of stuff that was going on? If you could answer that.
I wouldn't, like, generally, yes. Depression is something that I have struggled with, throughout my life, as well as anxiety. It's something that I still struggle with. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was not in a good, place when I wrote that song.
Okay. Looking back at it now, what do you think of the song?
I haven't listened to it in a little while. You mean just like the message behind it, or the lyrics, or what?
The I guess both.
Um,
What do you think about the message? Let's start with that.
well, I think so. Sometimes, you run across an artist, and I would say that I'm in this category, especially with songs that, not my Life is Strange songs, but, and there's actually a lot of videos on my channel that I made private, kind of when I started doing the Life is Strange stuff, because I felt like I wanted to just kind of start over. But if you look at, a lot of my original music, it's very depressing and dark. And if you were to, like, meet me, I think, I'm not, I like to joke around. I'm happy seeming a lot of the time. So I think that having an outlet for really, scary, and you might even say, dangerous kind of feelings and thoughts is good, even if I don't necessarily agree with them all the time. So it's really, I would look at the song as a point of view. It is like a moment of time and a point of view. And so I like it. I like it as that, but when I look at the lyrics and kind of think about this song, it is very dark. It kind of reminds me of that, and it doesn't, feel great.
Okay. So I'm gonna guess Moment of Weakness is the same thing.
Let me take a quick look at those lyrics.
I just did the first two. I have seen that it says, like, official audio and stuff. Some of the titles just intrigue me by the title, so I will definitely listen more. Obviously, I kind of don't have a choice.
Yeah, so this song,
I told everyone we're gonna be using your music. I can't. I don't really have a choice but to listen to your music now.
Oh,
so,
yeah. So Moment of Weakness, is kind of different. I think a little bit of that song actually is about, how I've struggled with wanting to be more popular. I'll say that, and it's
I can relate to that.
Yeah, maybe I think a lot of people can, but people don't really like to talk about it because you're supposed to just be happy for everyone. You're not supposed to get jealous of people that are doing better than you, and also, and I don't. But those feelings still come up, where you're like, why am I not more popular? Why am I not, succeeding at this more?
All the time. Yep.
Yeah, so I have I have those feelings, and this song was in part, I think, inspired by that. And
Okay.
yeah, and but when I sat down to write this song, it's different. This is actually one of the only songs that I've written that I didn't write on my guitar. I was trying to get better at like music production, so this song it's a little bit different than a lot of my other songs. It's got more like electronic elements, and that was because I was experimenting with that. So I kind of just this song didn't come from me like sitting on my guitar and having something to write about and writing about it. It was much more like, oh, I just want to do a song with electronic stuff in it and see how it turns out. But I think that's kind of what the song ended up being about for the most part.
So you talk about how your low subscriber rate now. Well, so you have a good basic of like people that surround you that I guess sort of appreciate what you do and understand that that's your choice, or like do you want to be a famous musician your whole life? Like what's like the goal?
You mean like my family and stuff supporting me, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my wife is like incredibly supportive of me and what I want to do. I'm a musician in the sense that I make music, but like I'm not a professional musician. Like I'm a professional software engineer, and that's what I went to school for. That's what I've been doing and continue to do to make money, right? But I think that what I've always been is an artist, and so I want when I look back on my life and my life's work and all this, I want it to be art, and I think. At least for now, I want it to be music. So I've been working really hard just in my, whenever I have time, to get better at music production and kind of all the different things that go into it. Kind of I started learning how to play the drums, and my latest song has a bass part in it for the first time that I played. And I'm kind of trying to really get better at all this stuff so that I can present my songs in the best way possible. Because it's really important to me to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're it sounds like you're almost more dedicated to music than I am to podcasting, which I don't think I'd ever say to anyone. It's hard to find, and when I find people that like are as dedicated to something as I am, like people say to me all the time, especially recently, they're like, "So, when's this podcast over?" And I'm like, See, here's the thing. In my mind, it's never over because it's always there. Like, it's always something that I can go back and listen and realize how terrible I sound or stuff like that. But it's always there. So when people ask me, like, is the Life is Feels podcast ever going to end? I'm like, in my mind, no. Because it's always going to be there. Unless YouTube demonetizes everything. That it won't be there.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you a question, sort of. The only question I really had, well, I have more questions, but the question I had about how we would be using your music, copyright laws come in effect with you since you have over 1,000 subscribers, or like how does that work?
So you just like generally about music copyright? Is like as soon as you record something, you own the copyrights to it.
Okay.
And yeah, subscriber doesn't come into play. But if I tell you that you can use my music, then you can use it. And if it doesn't tell you that you can use their music, then you can't use it. It doesn't matter how many subscribers there are. And
okay,
yeah, that's that.
So I won't get copyrighted from someone else if we use your music.
Definitely not. That would be very alarming to me. If someone else was claiming to own the copyright to my stuff.
I mean, you never know. Anything is possible.
Yeah, just like you can sue somebody for anything you want. I don't know if that's true or not actually, but you're not going to like win. And so if somebody comes at you and is like, I'm saying you're infringing on my copyright, but it's my song, they can't get away with it.
Yeah. So you talked about music. So you said music growing up. What did you want to be when you grew up? Can we go on that, or like
Yeah, I
you
can,
don't really know?
I can try. You know, one of the things I remember I wanted to be was a like a novelist. You know, a writer.
Okay.
Um, Gosh, what else did I want to be? You know, this is
So still in publisher field of being creative and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. That was stuff that I thought about. Um, I can't really remember too much else that I wanted to be. I knew that it wasn't practical. You know, I didn't choose to go to school for that. I chose to go to school for computer science because it was going to be practical. So I'm a really practical person. I was even practical when I was a kid. So I don't know that I had too many aspirations like that.
So you talk about um aspirations and goals, and we sort of talked about what is the goal with your music? Is there not a goal of how far you want to go, but as far as reaching out to people with your music and not making, but having those people feel a connection, is that a big part of what you do?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that one of the things that has been sort of a consistent um, something that I've consistently tried to do with my music, you know, from years ago up until now, is to try to kind of dig into painful or uncomfortable emotions or situations and put words to them. You know, sometimes I say it to myself in that I want to help other people feel their feelings, because I think that,
Okay.
you know, I'm somebody who's really willing to like dig in there and figure out what's going on and find the rawest truths, you know. And I like to put
Be
that,
able to fix it.
sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, and I like to put that into my songs because I want people to I want people to feel like they're okay. You know, it's something that I have struggled with in the past, is just thinking that, you know, oh, I'm the only one who feels like this, or there's something wrong with me. And I want to expose my own vulnerabilities and weaknesses so that other people can feel like they're more okay. I think that's kind of at the core of what I want to do with my songs.
Okay. So getting, I know that for me, it's harder to get a message out via podcasting, but the message that I have somewhat relayed to people is that in my mind, everything in a life happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always felt that way. There'll be times if you listen more, which we start using your music, we expect you to listen more. No, maybe, I don't know. Um, uh, so she'll watch the view, hear her song, and then just turn it off. That it'll still count as a view though. But what I'm trying to say is that for me, it's everything happens for a reason, and emotionally, there's been times where I'll be having a bad day, but I'm like, hey, look, we agreed to record it this time, and it's time to record, and we don't really have a choice. And I mean, like, I battle through it, and what I do is I'm like, well, this is happening for a reason. So there's times during podcasts where I'll just have random emotional outburst about something. Usually, Life is Strange. Uh, and I had a random outburst in something a couple days ago. I think we were talking about a game, and I'm not gonna say which game because that's gonna give away things. But we were talking about a game and talking about a certain part, and then to make my mind go better because I was getting emotional, I just started thinking about Life is Strange, and then started thinking about Victoria's character for some reason, and then started looking up Victoria's character, the voice actor, online, and in the middle of as I was speaking about the emotion, I said, "Hey, I just found Teresa Croft on Twitter." So it kind of balanced each other out. But yeah, emotion is emotion's big in everything, to be honest. And I haven't listened to all your songs, but from what I've heard, your emotion sounds absolutely amazing, and it really got my attention, which is why I offered. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you that I actually listened to the Weakness song before I even messaged you, because I saw your name and then I saw your YouTube. I saw your YouTube link somewhere. I don't know if it was on your Twitter or something. And usually as a podcaster, I just click on it and I listen to Weakness, and right away I was like, oh wow, this is what we need, and it'd be
Oh,
really cool to talk to her. Um, so do you want to get into some Life is Strange, or you want to keep talking about music? Because
uh,
I know you're a gigantic Life is Strange fan.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you also told me that you have written some songs about some other games. Do you want to go in more in depth in that?
I said that I did a cover recently of a song called Fever, which it's an old
Uh-huh.
classic song. It's like kind of, I think we played it in the jazz band in like 8th grade or something. I did a cover of that, and I kind of themed it around The Last of Us.
Okay.
And then I don't know if I've done another song from a game. I did a song that was based on Klexa from the 100 because I was a huge Klexa shipper.
Okay.
And I can't think of others right now, so that might be it.
So I feel like I'm exposing too much about my life, but when I do write music, uh, there's usually safe spots that, like, there'll be times where I can't think of anything, and then as soon as I go to this certain area, words just start coming. Do you have any of those, or do you not want to talk about them, or?
Huh. I wouldn't say that I have any like locations, but there are certainly like uh kind of times of day, or like I don't know, sometimes like after I take a shower or something and I'm like really relaxed, and I'll go lay down, and like,
Mhm.
things will kind of flow, or like right before bed is another good time, or early in the morning. It kind of seems like when I'm not thinking, I'm not like using my brain too hard, when I'm kind of relaxed is a good time to
It
write lyrics
just
and
it
stuff.
just it just starts to come to you at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so that's yeah, I've said this to other people, not for this podcast, but I've said this to my friends who have been in musicians before, or not musicians, but are trying to be musicians. And I said to them, I was like, "So do you have any safe spots?" And they're like, "No, dude, you're just weird. We don't have any safe spots."
Well,
So I was like,
I will say this
"Oh,
about a safe spots though, is that and I'm still a little bit like this, well, I'm better than I used to be, but I like had the hardest time with anyone hearing me like sing or anything. So it was when I was a senior in college is when the first time that I was like living by myself in an apartment, and I had so much fun because I felt like nobody could hear me, and I was more free to like
yep,
write music and stuff like that. So it is important for me to feel like safe, like nobody's going to judge what's coming out of my mouth because I don't even know what it's going to be yet, that kind of thing.
uh-huh." Um, so your lyrics, most people's lyrics, relate stuff that's going in on your life, and we talked about how you've done that. But is there a time where you have been writing lyrics about your life and you think this is too personal, or does that never?
Hmm. I don't think so. And it's funny because I look back on some of my old videos, which like I said are not are private on my YouTube channel, but I was like a little bit cringy with how much I was willing to share. So I think I think it creates so much better art to be personal and to be real that I'm usually willing to share that. Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna DM me those private videos, right? Is that?
I don't know. I was thinking about doing a little bit of a what are they, like a throwback Thursday or something once in a while on Twitter with an old video. I might do something like that in the future.
Okay. Well, because I was let me pull up your YouTube real quick. Which once I figure out, well, not once I figure that out, have time to link stuff, I will link in the description. But so yeah, there's isn't the Raven? Isn't that a poem? You did a poem on YouTube 7 years ago.
Yeah, I have a couple of poetry readings. There's another one. My favorite poem is the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. So that's another one.
Okay.
And then there is a few poems that I left up that I wrote and kind of performed, I guess.
Okay, so all these overexposed, these are all your songs, right? Fragile Reality.
Mm-hmm.
These are yours.
Yep.
Because I tried. War Paint. I'm really promoting you. All That Matters. And I Still Do. Those are all yours?
Yeah, those are all part of my EP that's called Fragile Reality.
Oh, so okay, so it's like an album, and it's okay, I get it. So I have a question to you. Oh, you have a song about 13 Reasons Why. I should listen to that. I didn't like 13 Reasons Why, but I like music, so.
Yeah, about 13, just really quick. 13 Reasons Why I kind of liked season 1. You know, there are things I didn't like about it, but I felt like it was like interesting and it was like worth making. But then they came into season 2 and it was like horrible. And it's like they're just stretching it out because it was so popular or whatever. Anyway, that's my rant about 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, so I do have a couple Life is Strange questions that I have to ask you. Just like 2 or 3. Because I'm hoping, and we talked about time zone wise, we're in the same time zone, we're both done, which is good. So we talked about how hopefully maybe we'll be able to have you on more than once at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But so I want to really save in-depth Life is Strange conversation for there. But there's a couple Life is Strange questions I have to ask you now, just because it's something I ask everybody.
Okay.
Do you like pineapple pizza?
No.
Do you know why I asked that?
No, actually.
Okay, so there's the girl who plays Steph in Before the Storm, Katie Bentz.
Okay.
Has her own Twitch channel. I don't know if you've ever been there. And one day the chat just started going off, and it doesn't even relate to Life is Strange at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where this came from, but the chat just started going off and talking about pineapple pizza. And since then, it's been a thing. And so now every time we do an interview or every time we add someone new to podcast, one of the first things I ask them is, do you like pineapple pizza? And they're usually like, what the fuck does this have to do with Life is Strange? And I'm like,
do people tend
you obviously don't
like it or not?
It differs. Some have liked it. What?
Kind of half and half. People like it, don't like it.
We've had more people that don't like it than that
okay.
liked it.
Okay.
So on that on that note, I don't know shipping names. Pricefield or Amber Price?
Definitely. This is so funny. Definitely Pricefield.
Okay, we're good. Why?
It's because I think that Rachel's not a good person, and I can't ship her with anybody with like a clean conscience. You know, I don't. You know, I just that's basically why. I like both ships. You know, as a fan, I'm like, oh, you know, these are both like fun, but I wouldn't I wouldn't like ship Chloe with somebody who I think is not good for her.
Okay. Um. So you, I'm gonna try and so you talk about how you some most of not most but some of your music is um songs about Life is Strange. So I want to ask you, as a fan, what did you think of? I guess we'll talk about all three games, and then I'll tell you some of my favorite Life is Strange songs, and maybe we'll disagree. I usually it's the same with people, but we'll see because I've never had a musician talk to me about a somewhat musician. Sorry, talk to me about how I like music. So we'll see. But what did you think of the songs from Life is Strange? Like all three. Like, what do you
Oh
think of the
yes, yeah.
soundtrack?
I very good. I think it was very good. I like what they did with the original soundtrack for the game, and then also the licensed tracks that they chose. I think were really great. And I think that music, the musical selections and kind of the tone of like the first game, it made it so like vibey. Give it, right away when you put in those earbuds and I'm blanking on the song, the All American Girls Going to the
All
Movies.
American Girls
Yeah,
by
that song.
SYD Matters.
Yeah, yeah. That song comes on and it just really like kind of sets the tone for the game right there. And so I thought that was really cool. And I love that they brought Daughter in to do the soundtrack for Before the Storm. I was already a fan of Daughter, and I think that the music they put together for the game was really good.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you. I guess we'll start with this top three Life is Strange songs from all three games.
That's kind of tough. So I really liked Spanish Sahara from the first game, and
Okay.
that's kind of a brutal choice because of when it plays. But I really like that song. And then another one, my favorite song from the Daughter album was "A Hole in the Earth."
Okay.
I'm also a huge Ben Howard fan, so they used Black Flies, I think, in the farewell episode, and that's a song that I already really liked. So I guess I might pick that one.
Okay, well, guess what, guys? It's happened. I have a different opinion. Um, and I'll explain why. Guess, I actually did know about Daughter before Life is Strange. Not well. I've like had searched them and I knew it, but in my mind, uh, just because of how much of a inspiration. I know people say like, how can voice actors and musicians be inspirations to podcasting? They're inspirations because it's good to know there's more than one or two creative people in the world. Um, but my favorite Life is Strange songs, Obstacles would have to be number one. Again, just because of I talked about how much Hannah Tellis inspired me and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually have to say that American Girls would be two.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't know why, just like that scene, it really fits with what's going on in that scene. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd have to say, I forget exactly I'd have to say Litomania from, and I'll explain why. Just give me a sec. I have to say Litomania from the beginning of Life is Strange too. Um, the reason why is because if you listen to the lyrics, automatically you think Life is Strange. Because it goes like I can't sing, but it talks about I can't sing A for copyright reasons and B because I can't sing. But it talks about how sentimental it is and how much feeling it is. And I think they really picked a good song. Again, Obstacles I picked because just how much of an inspiration Hannah Tell has been to me.
Mhm.
Well, what did you think about Litomania? Real quick, let's
I thought it was a good song to kind of open the game with. It had a lot of energy. I think right away it kind of placed the sort of the tone of Life is Strange 2 as something that was going to be separate than Life is Strange 1, because it's, it's not something that might have fit very well in the first game. So I thought that was cool, and I like the song. It's a good song.
So we have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't talk about this on air, but you talked about how busy you are in the weeks during the week, but during the weekends, if we have interviews with voice actors, would you maybe want to see if you could show up?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay. So I just want to say that I really appreciate you spending 15 minutes? 15 minutes with me? That sounds about right. 50, 40, 45, 50. I can't do math. Thank you for spending your time with me. I know, I really appreciate you letting us use your music in the future. It means a lot. A, because I don't feel like doing it myself. And B, because, I actually genuinely, I actually like your music. That sounded like a put down, but I really do like your music. So, thank you for that. And, do you want to, I guess, promote stuff? And then we'll head out of here. Anything else you want to say about? So I got one more question. What would you say to someone who wants to be a musician?
What would I say
Like, what
to someone who
advice?
wants to be a musician?
Yes.
Like a professional musician or like make music?
Both. Start with make music.
Just make music. I would say just do it. Okay, here's what I would say. And I like this advice. I say this to people sometimes. Is that if you want to get really good at something, you have to be willing to be really awful at it. And I think that's important because people get discouraged if they try and they see that they suck. But of course they suck, because it's the first time they're trying it. So you have to be willing to go through that period of time where you're just not very good, and then you can slowly get better, and then it's worth it. So enjoy the journey and kind of don't give up. And I guess I might say something similar to someone who wants to be a professional musician. Although I would add, and this is something that I've only done this. There are people that want to be a professional musician and they just go for it. They go, maybe they start in high school and they graduate and they just go for it. For me, I took the route of having a practical career where I could make a good income. And now I'm in a position where, I have enough free time to work on it, and I'm able to save money. I'm able to buy equipment, and it's because I chose a more practical route. So that's, it's an option, is to kind of have a backup plan. And I think that can work out, because then you're not dependent on record labels and whatnot, which really are essentially just, there to loan you money. So if you can kind of become independent, it gives you a lot more freedom kind of long term.
Okay. I guess that's it. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. It was fun to chat. If you want to reach out, I have a website, hawkemusic.com. You can send me an email. I don't remember the email.
With an E.
Sorry?
Does the website have an E?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's the name. So it's got the E. And then you can message me on Twitter or Facebook, or write me something on YouTube. I'll get back to you.
They can't message you unless you promote what those things are. So
Well, if you search for my name, a lot of stuff comes up. My website has links to my Twitter and YouTube, so it's basically just Hawk Music on Twitter. You can search for Riley Hawk on Facebook. You can search for Riley Hawk on YouTube. So, yeah.
You can find me nowhere. No. I quit. No. You can find me on Twitter at jmanpowerhouser, or just search Life is Feels in the description up top and you'll find me. This is something we have decided to do, but you can follow other podcasters, Coffee Mug, at Coffee Mug 888. You can follow Steven Jackson at Steven Alts 13. You can follow. Hang on, I always mess Charlotte's up because it's like a bunch of random ass numbers. You can follow Charlotte on Twitter at A7XPTRSN. Kayla, who did the first ever episode with me, you can follow her on Twitter at KLM08. You can follow and subscribe to us on YouTube at Life is Feels Podcast. I'm sorry, there's a lot here. You can email us at lifeisfeelspodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/lifeisfeelspodcast. Thank you so much for listening. Riley, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
And until next time, folks, remember, life is feels. See you next time. Thanks for listening.